Before we actually start programming the Freekie, we'll need to take a look at some basic terminology. The three major themes of this chapter are structures, timings, and macros. We'll begin with structures. There are three terms that relate to the structure of programming. The most basic is the scene, then comes a show, and finally a bank. The building block of any programming is the scene. A scene contains one DMX value for each channel and describes every possible parameter of each one of your fixtures. The Freekie can describe the look of up to 12 fixtures. This description is what we call a scene. In other words, a scene determines the state of all fixtures, the overall look. The next term is the show. A show is, as you see illustrated here, a collection of scenes. In total, a show can contain from 1 to up to 10 scenes. By now it should be easy to grasp the notion of a bank. It is merely a container for shows, and it holds up to 12 shows. The Freekie offers you as many as 10 banks in total. So to summarize, the Freekie has 10 banks containing 12 shows, which in turn contain 10 scenes each. So if we take a look at the numbers, that's 10 banks containing 12 shows, each with 10 scenes. And this amounts to a total of 1,200 possible scenes that the Freekie can store in its memory. And that's a whole lot of creative control. And now, why not sit back and enjoy a graphical summary of the structures of Freekie programming. As every great comedian knows, timing is everything. It's one thing to describe the look of our fixtures, but we have also to take into consideration the aspect of time. When we talk of timings, there are three basic terms we need to get acquainted with. There is total scene time, there is wait time, and there's fade time. Imagine we have a show made up of a number of scenes. Here we're looking at scene number 4. The total length of this scene is known as total scene time. What we call total scene time in turn consists of a fade time plus a wait time. The fade time determines the time it takes to go from one look to the next. The wait time determines how long we want that look to remain. So let's see what that actually means. This is a show. And as you know, a show consists of a succession of scenes, each with its own total scene time. But let's look more closely. Here we have a single fixture, and the only thing we have programmed to change is its color. Let's start with white. Notice how the different fade times determine the various speeds at which the colors fade. When the fade time is set to 0, you will notice that the color snaps abruptly. If the wait time is set to 0, the color starts to fade out as soon as it has finished fading in. This is used for creating a dynamic, constantly changing effect. We have seen that during wait time, the scene, or look, is by definition static. But that's not exactly the whole truth. One advantage of the Freekie is that it is capable of animating two specific parameters, and those are pan and tilt. Using macros, pan and tilt can be commanded to perform various shapes to create movement during an otherwise static wait time. There are three kinds of macros: circular, tilt sine, and pan sine. Let's see how a macro affects a fixture's movement. Here you see a fixture with a circular macro applied. Macros are designed to be customized. There are two variables that can be adjusted by you. The first, as shown here, is the amplitude. It adjusts the size of the movement. The other one is the speed. And by now you'll have no difficulty at all in understanding the difference between the next two macros. And here a comparison of the three macros. Now that you're familiar with the basic concepts of programming, you can safely move on to the quick start session, where you'll see an actual programming of a short show.